Chris will get second. He's still not going to panic. He's a champion. He's been a multi-time champion. You know, he's not in panic mode.
Yeah, and you know, I think somebody did the math along the course, and Chris finishes second at the next 3 rounds. Chris will still take the championship, but anything could happen. You know, we have 2 hours each race, so we have 2, 4, 6. I gotta use my fingers for that one. 6 hours of racing left to go. I think, you know, it's just exciting for the fans to see a battle. We're not going against Chris Borch or anything, but it's just cool to see this kind of intensity. And talking with the riders this morning, like, everybody's excited. They're like, man, we want to go for that win. We want to try and get that championship from Chris Borch. So I think it's a little bit of excitement that maybe everybody but the Chris Borch.
You know, it's actually great for the sport. You know, everybody here is used to, you know, Chris having the lead, and kind of the end of the season, it really isn't that exciting. Well, now we've got a race, so it is really exciting. You know, everybody's watching on TV. Everybody come. You know, like I said, Chris isn't in panic mode, but, you know, Walker wants to win races, and I think Chris doesn't want to get second, but he may just take care for the big picture. And, you know, we'll see how today goes. I think today may be a deciding factor. If try to run, and, you know, if Walker and Chris are together, that could be a whole different ball game too. Those two could hook up together and catch at play out. But it would be interesting to see this first lap, how close they really are, and, you know, see how this scenario plays out.
Yeah, definitely. That's going to be an important of riders that want to go for that win. We've got some guys that, you know, a few guys that have one under their belts already. But for those of you watching, maybe tuning into GNCC for the first time or aren't quite exactly sure what's going on here, we've put together a nice little package we like one.
Folks, the hardest thing about racing is learning to go fast. But we're going to get you up to speed quickly with everything you need to know about Grand National Cross Country Racing with GNCC 101. By definition, Grand National Cross Country Racing is a cross-country style motorsports race. We race ATVs, motorcycles, and side-by-sides here, and depending on the event schedule, you'll see 6 to 7 races on a given weekend. Some feature riders as young as age 4, and there's even classes for riders over the age of 60. GNCC racers, as well as numerous countries from around the world. Because this is the prestigious championship they're all chasing. Every GNCC race starts with the dead engine start, which means the engines are turned off until the starter waves the green flag. Each rider lines up on the designated row of his or her class, and with the wave of the green, from there the strategy's simple. Get to the finish line as fast as you can. The racetrack is actually designated by race arrows, and with some exceptions, the riders feet of the arrows all the way around the track. The riders don't get to practice or pre-run the course before the race either. They're assessing and following the arrows. However, riders can walk the track at designated times prior to their race day. A GNC is just about everything, including trails, footpaths, roads, any terrain that you can navigate with a dirt bike, an ATV, or a side-by-side. You can expect to see a little bit of everything, typically between 9 and 12 miles long for the afternoon race, and a little bit shorter for the youth, amateur, and side-by-side races. The XC1 or pro-level racers are going to be running red number plate backgrounds with white numbers on them, and the X plates with white numbers. The points leader in each class will have their number plate colors reversed. Flags are key here too. A yellow flag signals caution. The 2-lap board means there's 2 laps remaining, and the white flag signals 1 lap to go. The checkered you already knew that. Riders are scored electronically when they cross the finish line via a transponder mounted on their bike. Times are adjusted according to the row in which each racer started on. Once the race is over, we invite the top 3 pro classes to be interviewed on the Maxis Victory Lane podium, and the top riders in every class are awarded trophies. So now GNCC Racing. If you want to learn more, check out the series website at gnccracing.com, or do it the new way, everything you need to know. After that, we'll see you at the races. We'll talk to you about it in person.
GNCC Live on RacerTV.com. Fred, we just saw our leaders checking through. We've got the 521 of Adam McGill. He's checked in first place, in the second place position. And Fred, I do not see anybody coming anytime soon.
No, Jen, I think his dust is really starting to hold people back. Either that or Adam McGill's really on the gas down. It's interesting to see that those two have spread out this far. I wouldn't expect this on this type of track. You know, it's kind of rocky and fast. Man, we still haven't seen Chris Borch or anybody else.
Wow, yeah, there is quite a gap here, but it was interesting. Huge cloud of dust, and then 5 seconds later, poof, it's all gone, and we have nothing coming.
Yeah,
looks like our third.
And dust away, which is, you know, good for the other racers. And you could see, you know, those guys go around these big berms, and there's really soft dirt, and it's crazy.
All right, so we're going to have the number 9 of Bryson Neal in the 3rd place position. Wow, things are really the 3rd place and the 4th place position.
Yeah, and it looks like this might be
Chris Borch.
Yep, Chris Borch.
And he looks like he's already on a charge.
Yeah, it looks like he knows he's got his work cut out for him today, and it looks like he's putting a hand catch up to that lead group.
That's right. So our running order currently is the 521, Adam McGill, Walker Fowler. In our 4th place position, we have Brian Wolf, who was actually the winner of the 2011 event, the last. But of course, our live timing and scoring is showing things a little bit differently. Okay, now we're back to Borch up front for a second. It's just so used to scanning his transponder there in the number 1 spot. We've got Adam McGill, Walker Fowler, Brian Wolf, Chris Bithell in the 6th place position, and Jay Shadron, he just checked into the 7th place position. So we've got a couple of 3 Pennsylvania guys up there in the top 10, putting out a little 8 friends and family here, but of course we got the West Virginia boy, Adam McGill. He's in the lead right now.
Yeah, I think, Adam's been in New York, Jen. He was really up front, and he was putting a charge on, and he had a little bit of bike trouble. So he's probably coming back here, and he's in the lead right now. Walker won from that position by taking off, and I think Adam McGill is just going to try taking off today and see if he can't, be one of the winners of this year.
Yeah, Adam McGill, like we said before, he's the only other guy besides Walker and Chris to have a win here in 2014, and he was well on his way to fighting for that championship. It was a 3-way battle coming into New York, and it was probably a tough, heartbreaking day for Adam McGill. He was right there, but, man, he's the type of rider, he'll bounce back and say, you know what, I had some bad luck, but now I'm just going to go win the rest of these races and finish out the season strong, show my sponsors that I can do this.
Yeah, Jen, as you remember, his attitude was real good. He was still in good spirits, knowing, the bike can be fixed and he can't. So as long as we can, here he is showing you that, he's out here to win this one. So we'll see how he does.
Exactly. So now we've got they're all XC1 Pro riders. Normally we see those XC2 guys, even this early on, they inch their way up. But I bet you the overall runnings looks like Marshall Goings is now checked in. He's in 9th overall. Cole Richardson in 11th over. Epic battle there for the XC2 Pro-Am Championship.
Yeah, I was surprised, on the screen it showed in the woods that it was that dusty. I thought maybe just in the open here where the sun can hit it and the wind's getting to it. But as we saw earlier, the actual woods has got a lot of dust in it too. So that's going to be holding some guys back, because nobody really knows what's out there. You really can't see the terrain. You can't read the rocks, but then can they just go ahead and go and see what happens? So it'd be interesting.
So let's talk about that. The dusty conditions. What does that do to the machine? Do they have to prep their air filters or anything else differently? For the average person who doesn't know a lot about bike maintenance, did they have to do anything different knowing these conditions were like this?
Yeah, when just dusty conditions like this, we run a sock over our air filter, and it actually keeps some of the dust off. Actually can pull it off. When it gets too dusty and too thick and the bike starts to run bad, you can actually pull it off, and you have a fresh, clean air filter. But like on the quads like this, they're a little bit different than the motorcycle because it's got 4 wheels, so it's throwing a lot more dust up there, and those things are really try to actually stay out of the dust as much as you can, trying to conserve your motorcycle. Where if you're in the lead and you're bouncing around, you're hitting all the other guys out, but you're also dusting your bike out too, so it's like a 2-sided coin there.
Yeah, so those are definitely things you got to be conscious of. You can't just go out there and ride your ATV as fast as you want. You actually have to think about things, think about your bike, think about your body a little bit, because, yeah, they're out there for 2 hours. A lot of different factors have to go into that.
Yeah, if your bike doesn't finish, you're done. So you got to take care of your equipment.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of times those of us that are out here in the nice, dry, sunny areas, we don't know what goes into, why isn't that guy just going faster? Why isn't he riding harder? Well, it's not quite that easy, especially when you're at the XC1 Pro level. Everything has to be perfect in order for you.
And too, when the dust is going, like I said earlier, there's stuff hidden out there in the rocks. You can't really see them, so you got to be careful of that. You kind of slow down a little bit when it's dusty and go fast where you can. Some of these open spots now with the wind blowing, even though it is dusty, the wind's blowing it out of the way, so those guys will be hammered down there. But in the woods, they'll probably be a little bit more cautious for a little bit till, they get sorted out. And it looks like right there, Adam McGill going across that bridge right there, and we'll see who's coming up next.
So that's going to be the 2-mile marker, Fred, where we just saw our leader, Adam McGill, coming through. We've got some fans out there cheering him on. They're pointing Walker Fowler. He's in the 2nd place position. Walker looks like he hasn't really gained any time on Adam McGill, but let's see now that Walker went past how far back the number 3 position of Bryson Neal or where Chris Borch is at this point.
And too, Walker could just be riding at the dust level. He could just be riding back far enough to where he can kind of see Adam, but he's not really in his dust, and that's part of the smartness of conserving your motorcycle. He doesn't want to ride in the dust all day long. If he can just ride on the edge of the dust but still see Adam, he knows where he's at, and, it's a good strategy.
Yeah, one of the interesting strategies I heard this morning from some of the 4x4 Pro guys who we're going to hear from our winner, Rob Smith, later on in the show, is that they were watching his body movements. They said, okay, so if you're in the dust and you can't see very well, the one thing you can do, and this came from Michael Swift, who got 3rd place overall today, just watch the way that his body moves, and you're going to know what's coming up. And I thought that was pretty interesting. You wouldn't think that that was something that someone would watch. That's how it works?
No, that's 100% true. You know, you can see the dust, you can see them if they bounce down, and you know to actually grab tight a little bit, hold on a little bit tighter, and actually wait for that bump to hit you. You know, so you can kind of actually key off the person ahead of you. And if it's really dusty, you actually just watch them, and you don't worry about the trail, because you know if they hit something, you know, you can watch them and you can be ready. So it's actually a little bit of an advantage to be right on somebody in the dust sometimes, other than, you know, sucking a lot of dust in your air filter.
Yeah, wow, that's like that'd be like if you were driving down the highway and you were just watching the car in front of you and just dodging potholes.
Do what he does.
That is a wild concept. Well, we'll have to keep that in mind and see if only we could have a GoPro to see what these guys were looking at inside their helmets. That'd be pretty wild. But Fred, we just saw the top 3 guys go through. Bryson Neal was still in that 3rd place position. We saw Chris Borch putting a little bit of a charge. Look at this KR4 Performance crew walking in front of the trailer here. Look at it. And girls are all looking fly in their nice team shirts. Fred, those are all your kids.
Yep, those are some of our KR4 kids. You know, we like to work with the young kids. We help them like the riding skills and everything. It's fun working with kids and they're excited. KR4 ride, we're happy to help them.
Yeah, you know, it's pretty cool race. The podium is flooded with the KR4 Arrive and Ride kids, and they're always happy. They're always so professional. They've got their sponsors out. They've got their shirts on, their hats on. Everything is always, you know, to the T. So that's really cool to see you guys out there and see how KR4 is really like taking over their youth ranks and starting them young. And I have a feeling in a couple of years we're going to have a really professional group of kids moving up, because they're going to know exactly what's going on.
Yep, the mini guys are our future, just like the mini quads. You know, we don't have them, we don't have a future. So it's great that we can help them achieve their goals and go racing.
Yeah, definitely. All right, we see Chris Borch, our 4th place.
He's pointing down his gas tank for something. It's like he's hitting the top of his tank. I don't know if they're going to fuel him. I mean, this is kind of early, Jen, to be fueling right off the bat. He might be having a little bit other problems and maybe wants to get an adjustment, but it looks like he's got a hammer there and they're going to do something with it. He's getting some fresh goggles on, and I'm not sure what he was beating on. What he was beating on, the disc might be bent in the back or what was going on, but something in the back of the disc or the sprocket looks like they were trying to hit, Jen.
So what we're seeing on RacerTV.com, for those of you that are watching at home, we just saw a really in-depth pit stop by Chris Borch. It looks like they gave him a little bit of fuel just because he was in there. You might as well fuel him while you're there, but they were working on something on the back of his ATV, and I'm going to go over there as soon as Rodney talks. What's going on with Chris Borch? For those of you here at the event, if you're wondering why he's so far back, it looks like he may have had a little bit of an issue. We don't know if he crashed or what happened, but we're going to go find that out. But for now, we're going to hear a couple words from those folks that help us out so much here on RacerTV.com. So stand by. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
I'm a sore loser.
I'm a sore loser. Losing is not an option for me.
Be the best.
The best? The best.
You have to have the best equipment under the hood.
That's why I
only use
Cometic products in my engines.
Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket, a superior quality gasket
For those of us who demand the highest level of performance.
Sometimes you come across something so different, you just have to stop and check it out. The Rocky Mountain ATV MC website has everything you need, from our huge selection of tires, ATV and UTV accessories, and OEM parts, to our online chat, customer reviews, and instructional videos. Our extensive inventory means most orders arrive in 3 days or less. Get low prices, quick shipping, and incredible customer service. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Your coolant. One of the most important things is almost always overlooked. Evans Coolant is the first coolant to be 100% waterless. What does this mean? It means a higher boiling point to keep your bike running cooler. No hot spots, corrosion, or build up on your engine to eliminate excess wear and tear, to save you money, and to make your engine run longer at peak performance. For more information, visit our new website, evanschooling.com.
Check out ARC's new unbreakable Memlon levers. Composite levers that weigh 45% less than aluminum and can never break. ARC levers are on the factory KTM, Husqvarna, Kawasaki, Honda, Yamaha, and Beta race bikes. Check them out at arclevers.com.
Fred Andrews, good race call there with Jen Kenyon moments ago as well, and we have got ourselves some great battling going on through the woods. Now, Fred, I know we keep harping last time we was here and so forth, but wow, look how dusty it is. This seems to be a little different from what I remember. If I remember correctly, in 2011, so this is kind of a complete turnaround. Not only has it been a while since we've been here, but totally different conditions, so it's almost like a new place for these guys, especially after talking to some of the guys, and they telling me that there's a lot of fresh virgin that Barry Hawk cleared out that had never been used before.
Yeah, it's a shame, Rodney. We got all this virgin stuff, that real soft, loamy dirt. Now these quads are actually making it dustier. If we had been out there on the old hard trail, it wouldn't be as dusty. Sea Crew makes us a great track every time, and sometimes Mother Nature's on our side, and sometimes it's not.
Exactly. And this section of the track that is not a part of the new part of the track, so you can see exactly what you're talking about.
Look at that guy walk.
Exactly, and you can just see that the ATV resort here at Mountain Ridge, it has lent itself to a lot of trail rides out here for sure, and some even GNCC as we check with the number 9 making his way around now. I believe that's Jeff Pickens, if memory serves me correct, and Big Papa P, as we like to always call him.
Bryson Neal.
Oh, Bryson Neal. That's right. They changed numbers, didn't they? This is 2014 now. Thanks a lot. That's Bryson Neal. Actually, Bryson was racing the youth class back in 2011 as believe it or not, a schoolboy rider in the 10 o'clock race. That's pretty amazing. And check it out. He's riding in podium position. Now, if you're one of those folks that might be in Bryson's corner, you might want to join our Twitter contest. GNCC Live is what you want to hashtag. What we're asking you to do on Twitter is tweet your podium finish predictions and hashtag them GNCC Live for a chance to win $250 in AMSOIL products. Winners will be chosen randomly. You don't have to be right. You just got to enter. Fred, what are we watching here now?
Well, I just noticed there's a big split line here. That's the leader, which is Adam McGill, came up towards us, towards this big tree, and then I thought I saw somebody shoot straight across there, and that must have been Walker Fowler going across. There's two ways to go on this track, so Adam McGill missed the quicker the two lines like this guy's going, and then I saw those other guys, maybe Brian Wolf or somebody like that, was going straight across the backside right there, like a.
Wow. Well, that was Jay Shadron we saw just check in a moment ago, the number 11 machine. The last time we were in conditions like this, rocky and dusty, was at Masontown, West Virginia, and Jay nearly won that race down there. Actually, he led a good portion of it and made a mark for himself in GNCC racing. Getting it that early in his career was pretty phenomenal, and I know a lot of folks were hoping and looking for possibilities of things like that. Maybe again, look at how powdery that is out there on that trail. You can see those rocks are starting to protrude up out there. A lot of obstacles. You get that dust kicking up, and then all of a sudden you got yourself vision impairment for the riders behind and following other riders. So you might hit one of those rocks or something sticking up out of the ground there. So this is going to be a pretty tricky race for these guys today. As we take a look at the way things are looking right now, Adam McGill, Walker Fowler, Bryson Neal were running 1, 2, and 3. Chris Borch was 4th, and Brian Wolf rounded out your top 5. Chris Bithell was 6th. Jay Shadron 7th. Landon Wolf, the 16 we saw go through just a moment ago, on his Suzuki was 8th. Marshall Goings, the 997, in 9th. And I believe that's the 20 of Josh Merritt was actually 10th. And I believe that was Brent Sturdivant. He was 13th the last time we saw him check in at the finish line. The others are due in about 7.5 minutes, according to calculations right now, Fred, for the completion of lap number 2. And
I think this is kind of like Masontown a little bit. It's fast out in the open. It's got a lot of big rocks sticking up in it, and it's a little bit dusty. But I think it's kind of like that place with the rocks and the hills and all that. And I still can't get over coming back down. These guys are having a hard time seeing, that's for sure.
This place is full of windmills. We talk about it being a wind farm, and up here on top of the hill, we have a lot of breeze blowing, and though we see dust in the air, it's moving kind of quick. Right here, you're right, down over the hill off the top of this mountain, it's kind of stagnant down there.
It just can't get through those thick trees.
No, just kind of looming in the air there. So that, you got a couple of variables whenever you start looking at dusty conditions like this, I would think. Not only do you have vision to be concerned about, but what about breathing? I mean, that's got to be tough on these guys' lungs.
Oh, yeah, Jen and I talked a little bit earlier about our air filters on those quads getting, what about your lungs? You're just breathing all that in, so it's definitely affecting your breathing out there.
No doubt about it. As we continue to watch the trail and wait on our leaders to wrap up this second lap of race. Don't forget to stop over, folks, and check out the great things going on at the AMSOIL booth and on AMSOIL.com, and as well on their AMSOIL Facebook page. You can register to win great prizes, including that Legends Building Sweepstakes prize like the EDR 1190RX. It's a street legal road racing machine. Basically, you take that thing down and lay down some laps at Daytona International Speedway at any given time, and you can also take it down to the market where it is that you want to go. Stop over and check out the building of Legends. Part of the great out of AMSOIL first in synthetics. As we check back into the track here now, looks like not much has changed. It's just kind of a waiting game for us right now. So that's our leader. Is that our leader in the XC2 Pro Am class? The number 15, I believe, just checked in with us. Actually, that's the second place ride. Marshall Goings is 997. We told you he was in like 9th place. Well, that was overall, actually 9th place. That was overall. The Petersburg rider out of Indiana is now riding with a almost 7-second lead over Cole Richardson. Richardson has been on a mighty big tear here lately, winning a lot of races and leading the points coming into this one. Cody Mcclung, the 5'10", running in the number 3 spot. Martin Christopherson, or Marty as I like to call him, out of Richford, New York, is 4th. James Green out of St. Mary's, West Virginia, runs 5th. Tommy Kuntz, if you go to GNCCRacing.com, they did a feature article on him not too long ago. The 47 machine out of Fayetteville, Pennsylvania. A good read on that, so you might want to check that out. 33 of Jonathan Fugate running in 7th out of Beech Grove, Indiana. Cable, Ohio's Luke Upaw, the 452, is 8th and wins several times, running in the number 9 spot out of Denville, New Jersey. And Matt Hanna, good to see that name back in with us again. The 901 out of New Concord, Ohio, rounds out the top 10. As thanks here looking for the name of Luke Shepard as he's running back in the number 14 spot. The reason I'm kind of watching for him is his girlfriend, who is an ATV National Motocross Champion in the women's class, Megan Manchak, actually fiance. She made the racing debut here earlier today, and I just got to wonder if he put a lot of his efforts and focus on her, and maybe kind of forgot all about his, but he told me he had to rebuild both bikes from the ground up. So he's been busy doing that all week. He's been nervous for her, and now getting out in these conditions out like this, he knows he's got his work cut out for him right now in that XC2 Pro-Am class. But back to that XC1 class battle and the overall right now. Adam McGill, who won Snowshoe, who was in contention to strike with some pretty good rides there in Unadilla a couple weeks ago, was also within striking distance of the title behind Chris Borch, leading this race. And just a tough break for Adam McGill, thinking had he been able to finish at Unadilla and finish as strong as he was riding, what a win here today could mean for him if he was still in that championship points race right now.
Yeah, we think we'd have a really good battle. We have a three-way battle for the championship there. But I actually think from the last picture I saw, I think Walker Fowler was on the back wheels of Adam McGill. So it'd be interesting to see when we get an updated photo for sure if that was Walker riding on his tail.
Well, I believe that we'll probably be seeing these riders come up at the 9-mile marker next. I think this might be somewhere out near the 5, if memory serves me correct, talking to the RacerTV crew. According to calculations right now, we are about 3 minutes out from the conclusion of this second lap of racing. That's on a guesstimated time. It adjusts according to the lap, the first lap. It could be a little shorter, could be a little longer, but if I'm not mistaken, I think the start and the finish are actually pretty close, within 100 yards of each other, as far as the track is concerned anyway. Maybe a couple hundred yards, but regardless, it should be pretty consistent on lap 1 to lap 2 as well.
Yeah, Rodney, I don't think there's any real big mud holes, any real bad spots, so our lap time should be, like you said, really consistent today, within a few seconds here and there.
Now, riding and racing in these type conditions in the past, Fred, what is the keys to today's race for these riders?
Well, I think Adam McGill's right now, he's in the catbird seat. You know, he's got the lead. He's making them eat his dust, trying to stay out front and keep the guys behind you. And actually, you're going to be catching up to a little bit of dust yourself. When you do catch somebody, you know, you're going to want to get around them faster than normal just so you don't have to eat that dust. And just try to keep yourself off the ground today. You know, out there's a lot of things can happen, a lot of rocks. That's what I'm thinking, that Chris Borch might have hit some rocks with his disc or his rear brake or his sprocket, and that's when you had that hammer down there just trying to straighten it out, you know, because there is a lot of rocks out here. Even though we don't really see them, there's some of them big rock irons riding here really big, and there's a lot of deep spots in them.
Right, and we saw that happen a couple of weeks ago. A lot of rocks. They were different types of rocks than here in Pennsylvania, but nonetheless, there were lots of rocks. We saw Chris actually putting the drive on there toward the end of the race and started closing up that gap. Come to find out, he wasted his brakes. The rear brakes there, he actually bent the rotor, if memory serves me correct. Actually, I know that was the case. I talked to him about it this morning. He bent that rotor, and it was pretty nasty and gnarly, and basically he said he had no rear brakes there coming through the last part of the race, and he knew he had second place locked up. And doing the math, he knows as well as anyone, if Walker Fowler does end up winning these last races, each and every one of them, if he can hold on to second place each and every round, he still is going to be able to hold on to that championship title.
Yeah, Rodney, you know, that's the most important thing to Chris right now is the big picture at the end. He wants to be a champion again and show everybody, you know, you don't have to win them all. It's about consistency. You know, when you're consistent in championship season, seems like, you know, it's easier to keep hold of.
No doubt about it. Only 19 points separate the two riders coming into this 11th round of GNCC racing, and it is making for one of the most exciting ATV battles we've seen in some time. And even talking with Chris Borch, he says, you know, though he's not feeling any pressure, he does feel a little bit more than he has ever felt at this juncture in the championships in the past 5.
Yeah, you know, he's got a different feeling right now going in for sure. You know, the other races he already had it sewed up, or he had such a big lead that he only need minimal points to sew it up. So right now, yeah, he's thinking about it a little bit different, but he's still, you know, he's a true champion, so he's still focused on what he has to do. He knows where he has to finish, and like I said earlier, he's not in panic mode yet.
Not yet, and I can tell you right now, we are watching the finish line itself. According to calculations, leaders should be checking in at any given time, and according to the way things are sounding, I don't so much hear a pro rider coming in just yet. You can tell the difference of a pro rider and amateur riders under most circumstances when they're coming toward the finish line, just simply from the way they ride the RPM so much hotter, and just seem to be, well, literally coming in a lot harder also.
Yeah, you know, too, Ron, you know, they could be catching up to the back markers, you know, people that are getting lapped right now, so the dust could be even getting thicker out there for them, so maybe they had to slow their pace down just a little bit, you know.
So what was an advantage for Adam McGill all of a sudden becomes a disadvantage, because the dusty conditions could also play havoc on him. But look here, he's got a free racetrack ahead of him. We saw one guy just a few seconds ago, but Adam McGill on rails right now, and having a great ride at Unadilla. Broken machine, you know, one of the most common cool and collected I had ever seen him act like after, and especially in the position he was in at this time of the year. Pretty amazing stuff. As we check in with second place, 7.2 seconds now separating Adam McGill and Walker Fowler. And out in the fields up here on top of this hill, we're seeing that dust blow pretty quick, so dust is not much of an issue right here. But again, down in those wood sections where things might start to get a little bit more congested. And right now, Walker Fowler's got to take advantage of this clear vision out here on top of this mountain and try to make up as much time as possible.
Yeah, right. As you can see, he was really, you know, he was going after it right there. He's trying to make his passes, or you know, he had to pass that guy to get around him, then go after Adam. But he's trying to make as much time as he can up here in the open and the faster stuff, like you said, where the wind's blowing out of the way. And you know, when you get up there in the woods, it's definitely a lot thicker in there.
Well, 49 seconds separated second and third, back to Bryce and Neal. Chris Borch was another 14 seconds back with Brian Wolf. Last time we were here, race winner. He's running in the number 5 spot out of Medina, Ohio, about 12 seconds back of that. As we check the final few turns, here comes that number 9, last year's XC2 Pro-Am champ, Bryson Neal, now taking the number 3 position yet again. Like we said, last time around he was 49 seconds behind, and this time around he is 1 minute and 11 seconds. Lap times go like this. They're not adjusting too much, but 25:34, call it 25:35 for Adam McGill, as he's 0.9 there. A 25:25, so almost 10-second faster lap for Walker Fowler. A 25:47, so a few seconds lost there by Bryson Neal, still holding solidly. Good ride for him in the number 3 spot. What's going on with Borch as Brian Wolf is checked in now in the number 4 spot, and all of a sudden that second place position seems miles away for Chris Borch. You start doing the math right now. Chris Borch is 13 seconds behind Brian Wolf. He's another 11 seconds back behind Bryson Neal. So that is 24, 35, and add 7 more to that. Chris Borch is 1 minute and 42 seconds out of the lead. But the good thing for him and the good news is that Walker Fowler's not up front, but he's got several positions that are separating he and Chris Borch, which will pay huge dividends if this race finishes like this by the end.
Yeah, but, you know, Chris did stop. Chris already has fuel, so he doesn't have to stop again for that.
And that could be a huge advantage.
You know, everybody else has to stop, so you're going to lose, you know, 10, 15, 20 seconds. Maybe adjust his brake or hit it with a hammer or whatever. But, you know, Chris knows what he has to do, and I'm sure he's going to put his head down. He's going to try pushing to the front, you know, just like Walker's going to try catching Adam. Now, those two could hook up together right now, and they could get their little freight train to everybody else, too. So, you know, there's a lot of things that can happen out there.
Adam McGill, Walker Fowler, Bryson Neal, that's your top 3. Brian Wolf runs in 4th. Chris Borch is 5th. Chris Biff that in 6th. Jay Shadron, the rookie, now running in the number 7 spot as we look for another rookie to check in here shortly. Landon Wolf. We'll see how also Marshall Gutt is faring. He was running 9th place overall position, leading the XC2 Pro-Am class at the end of lap number 1. As we take a look at this now, we see 53 minutes into this race. We'll be completing lap number 3 in about 22 minutes or so, Fred. But I can tell you right now that this could be a very long 22 minutes as he has got a long road to hoe here to try to catch up to Walker Fowler. And most importantly, neither one of these riders at this point are looking at, well, Walker Fowler knows he has to win to get gain as many points as possible. But right now, all that Chris Borch is worried about is getting as close to the points minimal heading into these next 2 rounds after this race here at Mountain Ridge. But again, things can still happen, and both those riders could end up on the podium, or both of them could end up out of the race. Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, Rodney, for sure. You know, and Chris had a little bit of trouble, so right now he's just trying to, you know, manage his points right now. You know, he's trying to keep the deficit as close as he can, and he had a little bit of problem, but he's going to start, you know, he's going to fight back and do the best he can to minimize the
Now, he knows what he's got to do, and he's going to work, and he's trying to make it happen. Talking with Chris this morning, he doesn't seem to be really be under the gun and under the pressure. Would that be a case of change possibly during this particular race with him looking now at 5th place position back there? Could maybe some thoughts of things like that start to creep in on him during this race?
Well, you know, Rodney, I think it would be after this race. If, you know, lose that many points, then it may start thinking and playing with his mind for the next 2 races. You know, right now he's still focused on what he has to do, so I don't think he's really thinking about the points. He just knows he has to get Fowler to minimize the damage. So I think would be after this race is when the whole thing would kind of set in, and he'd look back and go, wow, 4 or 5 races now, I've lost points every race.
Right.
I can't afford to do that. I can't afford to keep on doing this.
Right.
So that may be when it starts to play. Right now, while he's racing, I don't think that's going to play into his head at all.
You know, and talking with Chris this morning, you know, we talked about it, and it's not so much that he hasn't lost this many races over the course of the season. Is the difference this year is the fact that one other rider has gotten more of the wins that he has, I think.
Yeah, for sure, Rodney. You know, he's used to winning all the time. You know, it's good to see Walker come out there, and now everybody's excited to see this racing going on here towards the end. We're waiting to see who's the champ. You know, hopefully it comes down to, you know, Crawfordsville, and that's the big. It just adds so much more to the championship.
Most definitely does. As we check in, 1 pro class, McGill, Fowler, Neal, Wolf, Borch. We told you top 5. Bithell with 6, Jay Shadron in 7th. Landon Wolf does check in on the number 8 spot. Josh Merritt is 9th place. Jared McClure, sneaky snake, clear back in 10th place today at 56 minutes and 5 seconds into this race. We're working on lap number 3. Adam McGill working his way toward the 2-mile mark now, Fred, out here as we can see the crowd gathering out there, and we'll get a good glimpse of what the conditions and situation is out here in the woods, at least in this section of the racetrack anyway. The one section we saw out near the 9 was rather dusty, and or the 5, I'm sorry, was rather dusty and stuff, but this one seems to right now not be so dusty. Don't see a lot of that dust looming in the air like we have on some of the other shots.
Well, Adam McGill just went by, and we must have, when we panned the TV screen going after it, I think we might have missed Walker because it's been over 35 seconds, and he hasn't, what,
7 seconds?
7 seconds behind, so we might
have. He was turning about a 10-second faster lap, so that is a good possibility. If not, check in with maybe some of our track crew to make sure there hasn't been anything happen out there for sure.
Yeah, you know, you can see the fans out there. They're all waiting for everybody, standing behind the trees because the dust is, you know, going through the air. They want to make sure they're out of the way, and you know, there's a few different lines out there, and it's amazing how all this powder dust is just hanging out.
Yeah, it's like talcum powder. You know, it's crazy. I've seen it get dusty like this at Ohio race there at John Penton GNCC on several different occasions. There goes the number 9. So there's Bryson Neal. He's through. Minute and 11 seconds back. So
yeah, I had him in minute 17 right there, so we lost a little bit of time. But yeah, he's right on pace, and like you said, these laps are probably going to.
Yep. And who's that? Ooh, there is McGill now making his way into the pro pits. Are coming by. No, that is not Walker Fowler. Walker Fowler would be behind him if he is in the pits. Let's see what's going on where Jen is. And you can see that there's a sense of urgency going on right now for the boys in blue over at Ansi and Edgy, quite possibly.
I'm not sure, Rodney. It looks like they were kind of looking that way. Maybe that was Walker.
Maybe he did.
Yeah. Guys, it looks like Walker Fowler's crew was ready for him to come in and get some fuel. He went straight by, past Adam McGill. He's in the lead now, but we're only just a little bit, and it looks like maybe we don't know if Walker can make it another lap without getting fuel, so this will be interesting to see if we're going to have to go. The rule, you have to get fueled in your pit, so if he runs out of fuel some point on the track, his crew's going to have to bring him only enough fuel and keep on going, so this could get interesting, guys.
It most certainly could. Talk about drama. This is where it all are making the call out there. They're not sure about gas mileage. Let's talk a little gas mileage differences. We talked about fuel mileage, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it at just 2 weeks ago at Unadilla?
I think only the work crew or another rider can give him fuel. I don't believe his pit crew can actually take him out gas. Another rider has to be able to, is the only people that can give it to him.
So, yeah, and normally the GNCC trail
fuel to get back to the truck, and you have to stop and fill your bike up.
Yeah, and we've actually seen folks penalized for that in the past.
Paul Whibley.
It's something that has happened before. So these guys, for the most part, are
and it seems kind of risky for Walker Fowler to roll the dice like that. Off the stop, and he was still taking off in second, then to be winning and run out.
Exactly.
And lose everything.
Exactly. So that is Walker thinking, you know, is he in that panic mode right now? Does he know where Chris Borch is? Or is he just thinking, I got to get out? Might not be much of an issue today. We saw a lot of fuel being used in Unadilla with the rocks and the different muds and different things that these guys had to go through. It was a much shorter track. We've got a little longer track here, a couple miles, 2.5 miles or better, longer racetrack right here. And these guys, and he must be feeling something good out there, or at least have the confidence that he's going to be able to at least get far enough.
You know, Rodney, with the dust clogged up like that, it actually uses more fuel because it's, you know, it's sucking air, so you're actually sucking more through the motor. But I'm not sure if the Yamaha guys look like they're in that much of a panic. They're, you know, at this point, there's nothing they can do.
No,
they just sit back and wait and see if he comes.
It's a waiting game, and they're either going to say, "Good job, Walker," or "What were you thinking, Walker?" You know, that's it's a danged if you do. And well, it's one of those things. If it don't pan out, he's going to be a dirty dog. If it does work out, it's going to be one of the most spectacular moves he could have ever made. And I'm going to err on the side that this is going to pay off for Walker. We'll just have to wait and see that. So now he's ahead of Adam McGill. He was actually running a little faster lap time, so he's been right there with him. Just tired of battling with Adam, because Adam's not the easiest person and the individual in the world to pass out there on the trail.
No, I'm sure Adam was, you know, he was riding the track like he owned it. You know, you're never going to give anybody an inch out there. And you know, at the end of the day, too, it was Walker's call.
Yep.
You know, his pit crew was ready, so if Walker runs out of gas, you know, it would be on him.
Yep, exactly. And right now we see Walker's mechanic. Mark, believe it or not, in 2011, raced the pro class here. Last time he was here. He's now Walker Fowler's mechanic, and he also works with Cole Richardson, who is the XC2 points leader and second place rider. I think that's who they're waiting on right now.
You know, Rodney, and it's a good thing, too, to have a mechanic like Notman there. That was a good racer too, so you and the rider can actually relate a lot better on different things. You know, he can you know, when he tells anything that, you know, he understands what he's talking about, and they can work together and make that bike even better than what it is.
And from what I understand, he worked up for you guys out of the Andrews shop up in Northern Ohio, right?
And he was a great parts guy, you know, and he understands the motorcycle, so he's a real asset to the Walker crew for sure.
Amen on that. As we continue to watch right now, we see XC1 Pro Class, McGill came through ahead of Fowler, but now in the number 3 spot. Brian Wolf is 4th, Chris Borch in 5th, Chris Bithell in 6th, Jay Shadron 7th, Landon Wolf in 8th, Josh Merritt is 9th, and Jared McClure, old Sneaky Snake, back in the number 10 spot. As far as the XC2 Pro-Am class, Marshall Goings a 21-second lead over Cole Richardson. Cody Mcclung running in second. Marty Christopherson is, Mcclung is third. Marty Christopherson fourth. James Green in fifth. Tom Kuntz in sixth. Luke Upaw seventh. Jonathan Fugate eighth. Randy Hamilton ninth. Don't look like a lot of changes going on in that XC2 Pro-Am class from lap 1 to lap 2 right now. Leaders out near the 5-mile marker, it looks like, Fred, as this is one of those low-lying, dusty areas where the dust looms and kind of hangs in the air there, although it does seem to be moving a little bit more now than it was.
Yeah, it looks like this Adam McGill just came through there, and right now it looks like Cole Richardson is coming in for his pit stop. Give him a quick fuel of gas, and there they are, give him a nice cold drink, and off he goes. That's the way you like it. You get a little bit of drink, pat him on the back, tell him what he needs to know, and off he goes.
I think you're all tied up there, Fred. We got you undone. All right, so day here in Pennsylvania. I know I was talking with a young lady from the American Daily here in the Somerset area, the Daily American, I guess you could say, from over in Somerset, Christine Dunmeyer. She's a sports writer over there. And, she asked the question about this facility, why we, where we were coming back and when we were coming back and stuff. And what do you think from a writer standpoint this place is like?
I think it's a great facility. There's a lot of great parking here. I think the track's got a lot of technical stuff to it. It's got some fast stuff. It's got some rocks. It's got some woods. Last time we were here, we actually had a little bit here. Where today, I think with the wind out and it being the dusty like it is, the rocks are going to be a little bit easier to ride. And we have some of our motorcycle guys for tomorrow, XC2 riders. They're out there checking out the track and rooting on these quad guys also.
When Walker Fowler leads Adam McGill, Bryson Neal in third, Brian Wolf in fourth, and Chris Borch rounds out your top 5. GNCC Live will be back with more here on RacerTV.com right after this.
Your coolant. One of the most important things is almost always overlooked. Evans Coolant is the first coolant to be 100% waterless. What does this mean? It means a higher boiling point to keep your bike running cooler. No hot spots, corrosion, or buildup on your engine to 300 searing degrees. To save you money and to make your engine run longer at peak performance. For more information, visit our new website, evanschooling.com.
Sometimes you come across something so different, you just have to stop and check it out. The Rocky Mountain ATV MC website has everything you need, from our huge selection of tires, ATV and UTV accessories, and OEM parts, to our online chat, customer reviews, and instructional videos. Our extensive inventory means most orders arrive in 3 days or less. Get low prices, quick shipping, and incredible customer service. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Check out ARC's new unbreakable Memlon levers. Composite levers that weigh 45% less than aluminum and can never break. ARC levers are on the factory KTM, Husqvarna, Kawasaki, Honda, Yamaha, and Beta race bikes. Check them out at arclevers.com.
You love racing, all kinds of racing? How about pro motocross, flat track, road race, ATV, GNCC, Supermoto, Enduro Cross? Well, we've got what you're looking for. Welcome to the Racer X Show with Greg White, presented by Chaparral Motorsports. New every Tuesday on RacerTV.com.
And welcome back to GNCC Live on RacerTV.com. All racing all the time. Rodney Tomlin, Fred Andrews, and Jen Kenyon standing by with a trackside update, I believe. Well, by all indications I thought she was, Fred. So when she gets that, I think she's got some updates on what's going on over there in the pits and the different things taking place out there. So right now we continue to watch. Will be a 5-lap race according to scoring and timing. Just got off the horn with those guys just a moment ago. So we're working on lap number 3. We'll take a look at our mid-state Chevy midway report after lap 3 has been completed. And right now, it's just kind of a waiting game for us, believe it or not.
You know, I think this lap coming up right now, Rodney, the Borch crew is going to be saying 2 laps to go. You know, it's either we're going to make it happen or we're not. So it's time to turn it up. And that's, you know, same way with Walker. Walker's going to get the board and he's going to say, okay, I got 2 more laps to give it my all. Time to, you know, bear down and give it everything I got.
All righty, and I believe Jen Kenyon is now standing by with that update.
That's right, Rodney, down here in the VP Racing Fuels Pro Row. We saw a little bit of commotion go on through the Walker Fowler pits just a second ago. Chris Borch did sneak by in what sounds like the 5th place position, but I did confirm with his mechanic, John, that he did bend his back rotor. So when we saw him come by earlier, they were trying to bang it there with a sledgehammer, but Chris is like, no way, I'm on the run. I want to go up there. I want to get that #1 spot. But what it sounds like is that there's really not much you can do about it. So Chris is just kind of going with the flow. He doesn't really have full control of his brakes, but he doesn't care. He's just trying to get out there and get out front.
Wow, Wubsy, man. I tell you what, that right there, thanks, Jen, that is a great report. And that right there is the same case scenario that we saw 2 weeks ago in Unadilla, the bent rotor and things of that nature, no rear brakes. So
and the problem with that is, Rodney, every time you're on the brake, that rotor's crooked, so then it's pushing the puck back in. Then you go to push the brake again, and then you got to pump it back up for the puck to come out. But it's not like you almost have to keep on pumping it the whole time because the rotor keeps on pushing the puck in, pushing it out, pushing it in, pushing it out. So it's in a fast track like this, you know, when you're going wide open, you want the brakes to be there, and he actually has to start thinking about the brakes before he even gets to the turn and just start pumping them, trying to get himself slowed down.
Be suffering from the exact same scenario. Maybe not so much considering that we have the rocks and everything, but you got to wonder, man, is there anything that he could have done? I mean, I don't think so. I think these things, that's kind of nature of the beast whenever you ride an ATV.
Yeah, it seems like what you can do out there, or, you know, maybe it was a little bit dusty and he couldn't see that big rock and he did hit it because he couldn't see it, but, you know, that could happen to anybody out there with anybody's disc, and it's just part of the situation he's going to have to deal with, and as he told his mechanic, you know.
No doubt about it. Right now, looking at a very historical race here at Mountain Ridge Resort as this unfolds and the drama builds in our GNCC Racing Nation. I wouldn't call it a soap opera, but it certainly would be probably the best way to put it. One of the most competitive ATV racing seasons we've seen in GNCC. Most competitive that we've seen actually Chris Borch have to contend with over the course of his. Pretty exciting to say the least.
Yeah, it sure is, Rodney. You know, we got 3 more races and it's a long way from over, and I think right now, this race right now is going to even start to get more exciting because, you know, the kind of, well, Chris, you're going to have to get on it to get up to the front to save some points. And, you know, Walker's going to want to be out in front, and he's going to have to pit this time, so it'll be exciting to see him come through here and make sure he's got enough fuel to get back in pit and see if he can still keep that lead ahead of Adam McGill, because, you know, that's why he didn't pit, so he could pass Adam. So now he knows he's got to get a little bit of a cushion there so he can fuel and still get out ahead of him.
For sure, and leaders due in about 4 minutes, Fred, and we'll see whether or not any changes are taking place. And a couple of weeks ago, we saw Chris Borch. He didn't bend the rotor till late in the race, so it might be something that he can adjust to and overcome, like you're saying, especially early in the race, to give him that opportunity to find that flow, so to speak, just like he does on his Maxxis tires, of course. But he's got some time. We know he can make up time, but wow, we're talking 1 minute and 40-some seconds that he's going to have to make up. That's an awful lot of time, even for Chris Borch, and a little over 2 laps of racing left to go.
Yeah, I think with the bent rotor, you know, making up that much time might be out of the question, but I think maybe he can pick up a few spots to salvage a little bit of points. You know, and like I say, it's a long race, and anything could happen. Anybody else could run into trouble. So the best thing you can do is keep your head up and keep yourself going, and do the best you can do, and just let the cards fall as they may.
You know what, and Chris Borch is about to put himself in a must-win situation for the final 2 rounds of racing. You know, we talked about this one coming in. He could finish second behind Walker Fowler in the final 3 rounds and still walk away with the championship if that's the way he finished. And I even mentioned it today, you know, depending on what happens. And Walker Fowler knows all he can do is go out and ride the best race he can ride. If he can get out front and lead this one, he is at the mercy of the track and the other riders and fate, basically, in his bid for this 6th championship. And I'm telling you, it is starting to look more and more like an even more exciting championship than what we even anticipated. I keep looking at it and I keep thinking, Chris has got this covered. Chris has got this covered. Now I look at it and I say, does Chris really have this covered? Wow.
You know, Walker and Chris out there is the only 2 guys. You know, there's there's 10 guys out there that can win. So, you know, there's only been a couple winners this year, but that's a lot of points to lose, or it's a lot of points to make up.
And again, we got to remind you, just a little over 2 laps, so we can't give it to Walker just yet either. Just because he's out there, remember, he blew by his pit stop. They questioned the fuel mileage out there and whether or not he's going to be able to make it. And now it's just a waiting game for the pits. It's a waiting game for us as race fans. Basically a waiting game for, I'm sure, the boys over there next door to Walker Fowler's pits. I know Clan right now, the Borch Bandits are thinking, yeah, run out of gas, Walker, run out of gas. Let's even this playing field a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know if they're saying that, but, they like to see it come close. And right now they're not in that panic
I can hear
mode.
them. They're saying that.
No,
they're not. I know. But still, I mean, that's something that they're just panic. You mentioned the word panic mode. They're trying to stay out of that themselves right now. I mean, they don't want to panic.
Yeah, I think, after this weekend, like we said, if he loses a bunch of points and they get, if he's only 7 or 8 points ahead now or 6, then I'm going to start to set in because Chris is going to say, you know what, I was on this roll, I was doing so good, and all of a sudden now everything I touch might play a little bit of effect for the next 2 races. But right now I think he's going to do the best he can with the brake situation that he has. He can make up as much points as he can.
Yeah, and one thing that plays in the favor of Chris Borch is these final 2 rounds in Park, and then of course the traditional Ironman Gncc in Crawfordsville, Indiana. Both of those tracks are Borch seems to excel at and do very well on.
But you only got to watch. You're going back to Ohio. That's where Walker Fowler's from. And I know when I raced, when I had a little bit of extra energy, a little bit extra oomph to want to win in front of
what he's got right now. Wow, that could, that could be huge.
Yeah. So it's going to be exciting, for sure. Even today's not over.
It's very exciting. And again, for you folks that have not done so, if you're following us along on Instagram, we encourage you to tweet your podium position predictions to hashtag NCC Live. If you do want to follow us on social media, at RacerTV on Twitter, at RacerTV on Instagram, and RacerTV. So be sure and join in and follow along. Give us your thoughts and measures. And Walker Fowler checks in 18. I didn't even see Fowler check in. He was 18 seconds ahead of Adam McGill. I missed him totally right. McGill through in the number 2 spot. So wow, big things going on there right now. As Bryson Neal, lap time 25:24 for Walker Fowler. That's almost identical as what we seen him a lap ago. 25:49 for, and actually a little more than that because he was 2 seconds slower than the second lap of Bryson Neal, and I think he had about a 10 or 15 second advantage. Time pick up, or will it slow down for that 3rd place position? And how monumental could it be for position finish here in his rookie season? I know he's seen his struggles trying to work his way up through the ranks, and it's not. He has pointed out to me on occasion after occasion, time and time again, and he says, I'm liking my chances. And he didn't attack this with a fever that would put him in a position where he would and push everybody out of the way and make everybody angry and start to say, look out for that guy. He's a nut. You can't race around him. But he is doing it in a very mature way, and he is slowly but surely inching his way up. And as he checks in, he's now 1 minute and 19 seconds, a 25:50 lap time. He only lost 3 seconds on that lap. So by comparison to some of them losing time on the track, he didn't lose very much. So that's a pretty good push, and he had a lap as well. So that might have been, that 3 seconds could have been coming into this finish line chicane, actually.
Yeah, right. Big thing. He jumped in this class at the beginning of the year, and, he was going as fast as he could, and he's not used to getting passed by other quads. So those guys were kind of passing him and moving him around a little, and, he's had a lot of races under his belt now. Now he's getting accustomed to racing with those guys, and he got a good start. And really about confidence, and I think he's showing it today that he's one of these top 3 guys. And another thing, too, when they come in the pits, it'll be interesting to see if Walker Fowler, how quickly they can get him in and out. He was 18 or 17 seconds ahead of Adam, get him in there 10 or 12 seconds, so he should be out ahead of Adam, but it'll be nice to see how quick the Yamaha boys can get him out.
Well, I tell you what, we've had an opportunity to talk quite a bit, and we have talked quite a bit about the drama and the action thriller that we have leading into these final rounds of the 2014 season. And, the racer took both Walker Fowler and Chris Borch. We did something a little different this time than what we've done we actually asked both riders the same questions to see what their take was and what the difference. Kind of a 2 tribes thing if you ever pay attention to RacerX Illustrated or whatever. We're going to catch up with that in just a couple minutes, but that's something that those of you folks that are here with us on RacerTV.com and close by, you're going to want to listen to. It's kind of neat and unique in some way, shape, and form, believe it or not, how these guys actually answer these questions. And honestly, it's pretty interesting just how calm both riders are heading into these final rounds. I expected at least one of them to be a little edgy, a little on edge. Neither one of them was that. There is Jay Shadron checking in. He is 11th place. He'll be behind Chris Bithell. He was 50 seconds behind Chris Bithell last time. He's a minute and 36 seconds back now. So Shadron, Pennsylvania rider, might have found some problems out there. Don't know exactly what that might have been, but Fowler, McGill, Neal, Wolf, and Borch are your top 5 right now. And yes, you heard me correct. Chris Borch is running back in the number 5 position. He is some 10 seconds behind Brian Wolf. That's 22, so 32. Now we got, the gap is even now larger. We're looking at closer to 2 minutes between himself and now Walker Fowler. So, wow, what a long road to hoe for a 5-time and defending GNCC champion.
Yeah, right now, Rodney, he's doing the best he can with that back brake. He can only, doesn't want to throw everything away, so do the best he can. He doesn't want to try to override it, not have any brake, and hit something, then flip end over end and lose the whole day. So he's doing, what he needs to do right now just to salvage points and, take it again for the next race. And he's already stopped for fuel, so, he's going to make up a little bit of time. These other guys are probably going to stop this lap, so he shouldn't have to stop because he filled up once already.
Good point. We haven't even mentioned that in a little bit, the fuel consumption of Walker Fowler. Remember, last time he did not stop. He's got an 18-second lead, so in theory, he should actually be able to fuel and get out before Adam McGill gets in there. But that's in theory. In reality, will he even make it to the pits? That's a kind of a question. I don't know that they're necessarily super concerned about that. I think that if Walker Fowler getting a lot of fuel, I don't think he would have made that risk in that gamble. So I think it was one that may continue to watch now. Out here near the 2-mile markers, our leader should be checking in with us shortly, Fred. Racetrack. We talk about at this point in the race, a lot of times we keep talking about lap traffic here and there, but over this, what are we looking at? About a 11-mile course, somewhere in that neighborhood, about 2 miles longer than what we saw at Dillis. So lap traffic, not much of an issue today as Walker Fowler makes his way in now, and there goes Walker through the woods. And
he doesn't look like he's trying to conserve fuel to me.
No, it doesn't. Doesn't look like he's a bit concerned about it right now.
No, he is on the gas trying to stretch that lead as far as he can.
Guys, this is Jen. I'm going to chime in really quick. I was just talking with Walker's pit crew, and we're saying, the pits, he's going to be a hero for making that decision, but if he doesn't make it to the pits, he might be the 0, is what his dad crossing their fingers that he comes through.
Wow. So, and I can see.
So they are a little worried.
Yeah, they don't know. I mean, these are not real sure about things like that. But, I think Walker knows the way he's riding. He knows where his much and how long he is on the gas. I think that if anybody knows that, he probably knows.
Man, I don't know, Rodney. I know when I raced, my guy said gas, I gassed because I had no clue. And
True.
plus, I'm gassing.
Yeah.
So, but like you said, though, he could have a spot on his tank where he looks down and sees, it's up to already have it marked, and him and, Mark Notman, they might have already had this, figured out, and that which we don't know. And I can see, we'll see. I guess we'll see coming up here quickly.
So McGill and Fowler are through the 2-mile marker and working their way toward the pro pits here shortly. Still looking for Bryson Neal, the number 9 machine. Brian Wolf in 4th, and Chris Borch back in the number 5 spot. Looking at lap times right now, I do want to point out Brian Wolf turned a 26:02. Chris Borch a 25:59, only 3 seconds faster. And there he is.
And he's made it.
He made it. So there he is. He's a hero. Jen, looks like see if you can grab one of those guys and talk with them down there, because I'm sure that they've got some interesting words to pass along after that little bit of a scenario there.
Yeah, for sure. I do know a little bit of inside information is that they did prepare a little bit of fuel, like we said before. If Walker was to run out of fuel out there, someone on his pit crew could give him a little bit just to get back to the pit. So they prepared that. They sent somebody out there, but they didn't need to use it. So that's a good thing for those guys.
That is a good thing. And look at this. Chris Borch is feeling the pressure now. Is that Chris Bithell behind him? It most certainly
sure is.
Chris Bithell was almost 6 seconds back at the end of lap number 3, and they were turning nearly identical lap times. So either Borch has slowed down or Chris Bithell has picked up the pace just a little bit.
Yeah, they could have caught in some lap traffic, but as you can see, Rodney, right now I'm surprised how spread out the riders really are. So I don't know if the dust is really a factor this late in the race. It was in the beginning for these guys when they were all bunched up, but I'm not sure it is anymore.
Yeah, and this is non-traditional GNCC racing that we're seeing. You remember it seemed like we used to watch these guys top 5 nose to tail through the finish line, but there's been some big changes going on this year. I think with the we've had a lot of different names in the top 5, number 1, and number 2, just the consistency of both Walker Fowler and Chris Borch have just been unparalleled. So they've been kind of tough, and a lot of guys have just really been just throwing it all out there, just trying to see what they can salvage at the end of the day, and putting it all on the line, so to speak, to see if they can run that pace with Chris and Walker right now. And so far, they're all seeming to struggle just a little bit, but each and every race, well, days like today and days like Unadilla, you begin to wonder.
You know, everybody's a little bit struggling right now. Just because you're winning one weekend doesn't mean you're going to be a top guy the next. As you can see with, you know, Chris Borch is having a little bit of struggle going on right now too. And I'm not sure if I see his dad and them, and they're gonna, looks like they're gonna gas him again. So there must.
He took that quick fuel stop right at on the first lap, I think it was, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So they must be afraid that, you know, even though they gassed him, just topped him off, that he'd be short one lap.
All right, they got the hammer. They got that hammer out there. Well, no, they're not beating on it. He's saying, no, go. So there goes Chris Borch. And then just a moment ago, Fred, I was talking about, we had the opportunity to sit down and do a Two Tribes type interview with Chris Borch and Walker Fowler. And believe it or not, it was rather intriguing and rather neat to see the different perspectives from one of the newer guys in the XC1 Pro class to a seasoned 5-time Gncc champion.
Yeah, I started back, forget the year, probably I was 16 years old. Started riding four-wheelers. My dad and a couple of his buddies started racing.
1996, I actually started my racing career. I was 4 years old. It was definitely one of those things. Dad just kind of got me started. And
best memorable moment GNCC racing was probably, I guess, my first championship coming around the corner in, I think it was Yadkinville. My dad standing around the corner giving me a high five on the track. I think that was probably one of my best moments.
I would say my most memorable moment in GNCC racing was probably, it's kind of a tie between the perfect season, finishing that in 2011 at Loretta's, coming over the triple jump at the end, you know, both hands off the handlebars, throwing the number ones up, and just to do that in any class, honestly, without having a mechanical failure, a rider error, and to be able to get all those wins is awesome. Plus, same year to have get my first overall victory at the Rock Run GNCC, and then to get another one at Unadilla that year. Those were.
Yeah, we got the points lead by 19. We're just keeping the bike going. That's a big thing with this racing here. With 2 hours of racing, we got to just stay consistent, stay up front. Yeah, I know you guys been talking. I haven't won in a couple races here, but just things. Unadilla just had some bad luck. Just having some bad luck this year, and
being in the heat of the championship race with only 19 points separating us. Of course, I'm feeling a little pressured, but honestly, it's an awesome spot to be in. It's kind of like how Chris goes about his races, being in second or third last lap and trying to. That's where I'm at as far as the season goes.
Pretty interesting perspective there, Fred Andrews, if you think about it. That one was something that, you know, you got Chris, who didn't start racing until he was 16 years old, and you've got Walker, who started when he was 4 years old. A pretty big diversity as far as these guys. I think it's pretty neat coming down to these final rounds. You know, I got to ask the question, though, from your perspective, who's in the better situation? Who's got the better scenario going right now?
Well, I would think Chris Borch would be in the better situation because he has the lead and it's his championship. You know, Walker, on the other hand, knows what he has to do. He has to win as much every race that he can and win if he wants to win. You know, listen to that interview right there. Chris was the one that he was just calm and cool, and being the true champion that he is, he wasn't really excited about it. And you listen to the will and the want that he wants to win this championship, and he says, yeah, I have a little pressure on myself, but it's more, and I think he...
That's the kind of thing that helps these riders keep their edge. And anybody that is on top, you got to have something to keep your edge, and I think that Chris rather sharp right now. It's he's taking his blows, there's no doubt about it, but he is certainly rising to the occasion now as we continue. I think Walker Fowler is either due through here or just went through moments ago. It's hard to tell in the dust right here. Trail, wow, that is going to make for A little bit better scenario for Adam McGill to close that gap up from the number 2 place. All behind that, though, you're looking at 1 minute and 20 seconds back, unless Walker has some sort of mechanical issues. This right here should end up being a strong fit. Even if Adam McGill is able to catch up and make the pass, we're still looking at several positions back to Chris Borch. There's minutes behind him back in the number 5 spot. As we look at this, we see we are 1 hour and 30 minutes into this race. It's Walker Fowler, Mason Neal, Brian Wolf, and Chris Borch, your top 5. And we'll be back with more GNCC Live on RacerTV.com right after this.
I'm a sore loser.
I'm a sore loser. Losing is not an option for me.
Be the best.
The best? The best.
You have to have the best equipment under the hood.
That's why
I only use
Cometic products in my engines.
Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket, a superior quality gasket
For those of us who demand the highest level of performance.
Sometimes you come across something so different, you just have to stop and check it out. The Rocky Mountain ATV MC website has everything you need. From our huge selection of tires, ATV line chat, customer reviews, and instructional videos. Our extensive inventory means most orders arrive in 3 days or less. Get laudable customer service. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Your coolant is almost always overlooked. Evans Coolant is the first coolant to be 100% waterless. What does this mean? It means a higher boiling point to keep your bike running cooler. No hot spots, corrosion, or buildup on your engine to eliminate excess wear and tear, to save you money, and to make your engine run longer at peak performance. For more information, visit our new website, evanschooling.com.
What do you call a machine that combines precision-engineered handling, industry-leading power, and a rider-focused design? We call it a Can-Am. From the essentials to fully loaded, you'll find that same combination in every ATV and side-by-side we build. And right now, get your own for as low as $149 a month. Can-Am, the ride says it all.
The shadows of the Flight 93 Memorial. Again, happening some 13 years ago and a little over a week. And right now, they are building, in the process of building a new memorial right touches over from where we are, believe it or not. And we see the camera panning, and if you look, you might be able to see some and everything over there. But off in those mountains is where that Flight 93 went down some 13 years ago on that dreaded. Remember the sacrifices made by those normal men and women on that airplane that day, just so that you to do the things that we're doing here. And wow, what a great opportunity for us to be able to race in Mountain Ridge itself, a wind farm, a off-road riding park as well, and of course home to GN since 3 years since we've been here. We were off 2 seasons, but warms up and I believe giving us a great big hug back. It may be a little dusty, it may be a little rocky, but what it is doing race today, Fred Andrews, and I know Jen Kenyon is over in the pits right now, and she has been getting all. We're just speculating a lot of the stuff right now, but Jen Kenyon knows all the stuff that is going on out there.
Going on, but I was talking to a few people there in the pits, and one thing that I did notice just before we went to commercial break is that Chris Borch for the 5th place position, so that's actually going to add even more of a points deficit between Chris Borch and Walker Fowler right there in the champion just a couple laps ago. And she said he came through the pits, he wasn't doing as well as, you know, last round when he was in 3rd place. Blood all over his face. Now she didn't know if it was anything bad or if it was just a little nick in his face, but that may have a little bit to do with his performance out there today. So there's a lot of stuff going on because we can't see or talk to these guys, but it's cool to mingle in the pro row and just find out little things here and there that we may not ever know.
Wow,
the inside scoop.
The inside scoop. Jenny on the spot, as we like to call it. She does a great job. Jen Kenyon, thank you very much for those updates.
Well, it doesn't look like there's much dust out here in the open, Rodney, but you can see when we pan back in the woods, them guys, if Walker Fowler catches up with some of them slow guys, Adam McGill was only about 7 seconds behind him probably, allow him to ride up on him, but, getting around him is going to be another thing with all that dust out there. But the wind's helping us out here, where in the woods we saw earlier that the wind can't get through these thick forests or through the thick.
Well, Fred, we were talking about the historical value of this area, not only with the Mountain Ridge Resort, but in Shanksville, near Shanksville, the Flight 93 Memorial. The GNCC crew, the RacerTV.com crew, took a few moments early, Friday to go and pay their own tributes to it and shot some rather interesting things, and this is what they came up with. Well, they got a little bit of a technical difficulty. We'll get to that in just a moment, but regardless, it's I think that they put together for the victims of Flight 93 for this particular race, and just how much it enriches our lives and reminds us of the sacrifices that people pay oftentimes. America, the strong nation that it is, and it makes you, it certainly makes you proud to be an American. It's one of those things that really, I believe, enlightens you as much as it may bring you down. Is inspiring at the same time as it is heartbreaking.
Yeah, Rodney, and that's for sure. You think about it all the time. We are to be free, and we can do what we want to do in this country where a lot of people can't, and to have those people, didn't take out more lives was an awesome thing, and we appreciate that for sure.
And now we're going to take a look at the boys put together.
When the world stopped turning on that September day. Out in anger and fear. Did you look up to?
Remember where I was that day, there's no doubt about it, and I myself will never forget. And I know that those normal Americans never meant for what happened to take place. They had no idea that their lives in America was going to change the way that it did on that day. But for those that stood up and fought for what we believe in as Americans, freedom, and not to let any, really salute those memories. And this is a great and moving memorial that we have over here. If you're ever come and pay your respects to those great fallen Americans, as we check in with an hour and 40 TV here at the GNCCs. And of course, Walker Fowler leading, Adam McGill, Bryson Neal in third, Chris Bithell in fifth, and Chris Borch back in the number 6 spot. And as Jenny on the spot said there just a moment ago, Fred, for Chris Borch, dropped him back another position. Thought there on lap 1 that it might be an advantage for him, but all of a sudden it becomes a disadvantage here late in the race. And that's one of those things where you roll the dice, and it paid off for Walker, but not so much for Chris this time.
Well, I think too, Chris, they may have thought, well, maybe he can make it, but at this point, rather than lose the whole race. So, it could be a little strategy there. I mean, they're making the best they can out of a bad situation today.
Yeah, and who's to say the same thing won't happen at one of the, or both of even, of the next 2 upcoming rounds. So it's still going to be a barn burner. riders continue to make their way around. We have 3 laps down in this one, and a good time for us to take a look at our Mid-State Chevrolet, where they stack them deep and sell them cheap. Be sure and check out midstatechevy.com on the World Wide Web for your next new car, truck, or take a look at this once again.
Walker Fowler just took the white flag, Rodney.
Walker Fowler taking the white flag here at the end of
Adam McGill coming in for second.
Lap number 4, the gap 18 seconds a lap ago, this time 16 seconds. Looking for Bryson Neal to be keeping an eye on that, and I'll keep an eye on this. Looking for Neal, Wolf, and Borch. Actually, Bithell, your top 5, with Borch, Shadron, Merritt, Wolf, and McClure to round out the top 10. XC2 due in about 6 minutes for their 4th lap complete. Marshall Goings still leading Cole Richardson, Marty Christopherson in 3rd. Cody Mcclung was 4th, and Tommy Kuntz Jr. rounding out the top 5. College A, 16 to 21-year-old will be witnessing in the XC2 Pro-Am class and XC1 class in the next couple of years. Kenny Schick leading that one out of Newcastle, PA, by the Waterford, Ohio, the number 30. 3rd spot, the 701 Greg Covert out of Ithaca, New York. 4th place, 27, Kevin McCohen from Upper. And 5th place, the 52 Billy Hartman from Romney, West Virginia. Junior A 22-plus class, Jordan Dodson, New Lexington on the 713, a 7, almost 8-second lead over the 788 of Doug Harden out of Canal, Winchester, Ohio. 3rd place, the 519 Matthew King out of Southwick, Massachusetts. 4th place, the 28 Wes Kinsley from Morgantown, West Virginia. Norris out of Aiken, South Carolina. We got the old Texas Walker Ranger with us again this year. That 8 in the Mid-State Chevy Midway Report. Matt Pierce, the 939. Good to see that name back out with us as well. Is Josh Whitehead running in 2nd. He's out of Sinking Spring, Pennsylvania. 881 Corbin Knox in 3rd out of Polk, Pennsylvania. 4th place, Todd Demery from Versailles, Indiana. Team John Cunningham from Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. Senior AB 38-plus, Tom Wright out of Tabernacle, New Jersey. 2-minute Leroy Shook, the 51, who runs 2nd. The 53 of Jeffrey Flynn out of Oldfields, West Virginia, runs in 3rd. Arthur Blystone from Spring Church, Pennsylvania, sorry about that, at 716 in 4th. And the 49 Aaron Delancey from St. Louisville, Ohio, in that Vet A. Now the Senior A, or excuse me, that was the Senior A 38-plus. Now the College B class, J.D. Brown, Anthony Head, West Virginia, 2-minute lead over Anthony Barnes, the 707 out of Paw Paw, West Virginia. Sugar Creek, Ohio's home to Colin Gerber, the 436, who runs 3 minutes 6 seconds back in 3rd. Noah Landis, the 602 out of Lancaster, Ohio, is 4th, and Corey Silverthorne, Butler, Indiana, rounds out the top 5. Junior B, Justin Paul, the 67 out of Oldenburg, Indiana, running in the number 1 spot. The 466, Virginia in 2nd. 499, Simon Bissell from Lewiston, New York, is 3rd. 4th place, the 171, Brett Fike from Frostburg, Maryland. 404, Robert Mapp from Westminster, Maryland. And in Junior B 22-plus class, the Vet B 30-plus class, Nick Wisely, the Marlboro man, and we see him. He was running 8th in Unadilla, and Todd Muscala now running in the number 2 spot aboard the 57 out of Uniontown here in PA. There is the 636, Mark Batson, one of these we talked about him at the first part of that. A racer that used to race ATV motocross, was a top ATV motocross star, and made the switch over to GNCC All-Stars team that is actually vying for championships this year. 773, Phil Cole running in the number 4 spot out of Pixatawa, in 5th out of Mineral Wells, West Virginia. And that is it, my friends. That is your Mid-State Chevy Midway Report, brought to you by your friends at Mid-State Chevrolet, where they stack them deep and sell them cheap. And Fred, things going on over there over the course of the last couple moments. Anything that we can report on?
Well, I noticed that Chris Borch actually lost some more time on that. His brakes really bothering him that bad, or if he's just having a bad day and it's kind of snowballing on him. But, you know, he actually fell back from Bithell a little bit more.
Well, I'll tell you what, he did get a big break. So did Chris Bithell, as we told you. Fowler Mott's been on that lap. Brian Wolf, who had been running in the number 4 spot and won this race 3 years ago, has dropped back to 6th, as both Chris Bithell and Chris Borch have gotten around. Bithell is now 5 seconds, and 26.5 seconds behind Chris Bithell now is Chris Borch, and another 23 seconds back in 6th is Brian Wolf. So, wow, pretty interesting stuff, though. Chris Borch is still some 2 minutes behind, almost 2.5 minutes behind Walker Fowler. He's well within striking distance of a podium position finish right now. He's currently in 5th, and catch up to Chris Bithell and then get around Bryson Neal, or Chris gets around Bryson, then Borch is able to get around him, then he's got to track down Bithell. Regardless, not a bad scenario and a bad situation for Chris Borch to be in, because we know under normal circumstances and push it and make up a lot of time on that last lap. And I'll tell you, every point is going to count here in these finals.
And every point is definitely important right now. Like I said, he did lose time to Bithell, but also Wolf had a little bit of trouble, so he did gain a spot. This is the last lap, and I'm sure Chris he's given it everything he has. He's got that, never die attitude. He knows every point is really important to fight this thing all the way to the finish.
Well, white flag is out. This is our virtual trainer last lap that we are in the midst of right now. And just want to remind you, we are less than 20 minutes away from a checker flag, and or about that anyway. Reminding you about our Twitter contest, your opportunity to win $250 in great AMSOIL product. What we're asking you to do is tweet your podium prediction finishes and hashtag them GNCC Live. And whenever you do that, of course, that'll put you in running, and we'll draw for a winner. You don't have to be right. Winners will be chosen. $250 in AMSOIL products could be yours. Will Bryson Neal make his first podium? Are you making that prediction? If you think he is, predict it. You could win. Or is Chris Bithell going to be able to shave away that all-important time as we take a look at lap times right now? 26:19. We've seen Bryson slow down quite a bit. 25:45, so about 35 seconds. What Chris Bithell has been turning over Bryson Neal. Will he be able to pick up the pace now that he's got somebody to race with? I think that Bryson might be in a situation nearly 2 minutes behind Adam McGill right now that he doesn't have that incentive. He doesn't have that push coming from bite of a rider ahead of him to try to catch up to. So I think he's kind of fallen into a pace right there, maybe not realizing how quickly the Borch are starting to close that gap now.
You know, Rodney Walker Fowler just came through the screen there, and Adam McGill was 26 seconds behind him that time. So it looks like Walker's putting a little bit of time on him here this last lap. And Adam McGill could be just saying, it's a little last lap. I've got a little cushion on the guy behind me, and Walker's really going after it. So no, he may want to settle for second after the bad luck he had in Unadilla last week.
No doubt, for sure, and I don't doubt that a bit. It may not put him in the running for the championship, but what it does is it keeps him strong in that number 3 position, and we start to see the consistency, and it's a good confidence booster because you go back and you look at the record at the end of the season, you can say, I had such a good year. This was the part that really took me out of that championship run, and I have to think that had not the 521 of Adam McGill in Unadilla a couple weeks ago finished on the podium or possibly even won the way it was looking out there for him, the chase for this championship race would be
in the yard.
Bad race last
Your
week.
wife and she.
As he goes by Pro Road right here, gets a cold drink, and he's got his day set for him. He's got another, maybe half a lap or so left to go.
And there is the new Mrs. Bithell ready for his final lap of racing here if he needs any assistance. She's got, I'm sure, some notes of encouragement there and some detailed information that's going to possibly help Chris Bithell out in this final lap as he was 5 seconds behind. I'm not real sure where he's at now. There is the number 1 machine of Chris Borch now. Chris out near as we can see. Not riding with a fever pitch right there. He is riding a good, strong pace right now, Fred, but not used to seeing Chris Borch ride on these final laps like this. I think it's salvage mode at this point.
Yeah, Rodney, to that break, with that disc being bent like that, the actual pad could actually be winning. He could just be trying to nurse it in and just finish this race and, salvage up the most points that he can.
Most definitely. Wolf to check in. Wolf riding the 341 machine was 23 seconds behind Chris Borch when they came through the finish line there a few moments ago. And, I was wondering if the 341 might be able, not necessarily to repeat for a top 3 overall today, but unfortunately for Brian Wolf, who is a part-time on the railroad, believe it or not. This is all fun, and there he goes right there. A family man, he brings his kids. We've seen him on the starting line with guys, a true family sport. There goes Mr. Bithell through the pits. Mrs. Bithell watching.
Stop turning.
Here is
That September day.
Forward from Papa Joe right there, and Chris Borch necessarily make things happen, but he's definitely got to take advantage of this last lap and do as much with it as he can.
Minimize the damage, and like I said right there, looked like he was giving it his all. Whether his brake was really messing, he's just going for it.
And that's the heart of a true champion.
Yep.
So pretty amazing. Still, you watching this area, it doesn't look like the wind, but look at those flags out there. You can see the dove and that across through there, and here comes another rider checking in here near the finish line right now. See if we can get a number on that.
I think it's Johnny
much of, well, tomorrow's co-host with us out here, but this rider right here, I got to salute Johnny Gallagher from around your area, if I'm not mistaken, Fred. And you probably know as well as anybody, man, the kind of heart that this guy has. He's years back in the youth ranks of ATV racing, before the new youth ranks that Walker Fowler came up, been a big part of that. And believe it or not, he has spent, I'm not going to say he's raced pro for 30 years, but he has been on the pro road decades, the 90s, the 2000s, and now here in the 2010s. And that's pretty phenomenal. Johnny, you know, this year not as great a year as what he had last year, but still, man, one of the biggest and greatest icons, I believe, in our sport of GNCC, whether it's 2 or 4 wheels. Yeah,
you know, Johnny started in a long time phone with the racing. He likes coming out here and being part of the family, and he's still going out there. My hat's off to him. Yeah, there's a little bit of dust.
Just a little bit of dust. Might have been us. I think we've mentioned it once or twice, and maybe. Oh, Ken Hill, he's got the old black eyes there. He looks like a raccoon. They're shooting it. What's that? One picture of the
Not
dust.
a good day for a photographer.
Hard on the equipment. Lost one camera already. Oh, my gosh. Broke it right. That's crazy, man. Ken Hill, our GNCC photographer. If you get a chance, follow us on social media, on Facebook, GNCC Grand National Cross Country Racing. You follow those, and you're going to see a lot of great pictures that Ken Hill takes, and comments that associate those as well. Folks, if you want to read up on this, you're from around the area or you're not, you want to check out some of the local action. Daily American, Somerset County's newspaper, was here with us. Dunmire doing a feature on it. Said they'll have a big full page, well, not a full page, but a big article in tomorrow morning's paper, and they've gone as well that you can go and watch some video and stuff, and that'll be easy to watch. Just go to www.dailyamerican.com. Wow. So here we are at this juncture in the river, or are we at the 9-mile marker? I can't tell. We're going to have to get a piece of paper and post it on it.
So we can see it. Because you know it's right on the other side, it probably tells you.
Yeah, exactly. There's probably a big AMSOIL mile marker on the other side that says whatever mile marker around the corner or something anyway. So, wow, just an hour and 55-minute leaders do win. We will be about 5 minutes over the 2-hour mark, but had we stopped at 4 laps, we would at an hour and 40 minutes, which is a no-no when it comes to GNCC racing. We must have been within that 15-minute window, and 2:05, not a super long race by no stretch of the imagination, but I think oftentimes, Fred, these aren't necessarily the actual time they spend on the track, but the number of laps that actually start to weigh on their mind.
Yeah, sometimes when you come around, okay, the 2-lap board's going to be out, and it's not there, and you're like, oh no. And you come around again, and you think, okay, well, maybe I missed it, maybe. But if you're strong and you're catching people, you're excited. You're like, okay, I got more laps. I can catch more people. So it can work 2 different ways for you.
Just right now, let's see where Chris Borch is behind him, 26.5 seconds, as we told you. Now, you keep pointing out Bithell has been coming out and using this particular line right here. So, I mean, there's a couple options out there, it looks like, Fred, and kind of funny, but kind of neat how different riders make different choices, and you got to wonder what goes into the thought process.
You got to go, yeah, and sometimes too you actually catch another rider going that way, so it'll catch you and focus you going that way.
Borch went that twice about it, right straight through it, and I can see, you can tell that yeah, looking at that looks like cleared them out, and once they got cleared out, other folks started using the same line. So pretty good move, I think, on Walker Fowler in the early part of the race using that. And it's really paid huge dividends for a lot of different riders out there. It appears. What looks to be a checker flag coming here in just moments. Fowler, McGill, what's going on? I did see Bithell go through, but I could not tell if Bryson Neal was still ahead of him. I didn't know if that was one of the riders just ahead of him or just behind him when they could not know right now. And I was watching there and trying to figure it out for myself, but it was tough for me to see with the dust and the weight. And it's fast. Right here, this might not be one of the faster sections, but some of these areas that we've seen, man, they've really been clipping up some pretty good
too, Rodney, when you talk about the line choice, sometimes you get so focused and so used to going the way you're going that you don't look ahead of you. Instead, you're looking at your front fender or looking down. You got to look out ahead of you to look for different lines like that, because sometimes lines do open up and it is better, and sometimes you're just so focused on your front fender you're just following those ruts ahead of you. So, you know, you just always got to keep your eye right down.
You see that guy right there? He saw that line after he'd already made the pass. That was actually Brian Wolf. He's cruising along, and it looked hit that wall. He was good up to the first hour and 50 minutes, actually. You know, it wasn't just a few minutes ago that we saw him actually get past. So He's on a limited training schedule. I'm pretty impressed with the ride that he was able to put. Saw him take here in 2011, but it's one of the better rides, if not the best ride we've seen Brian Wolf be able to complete, if he's able to make it to the finish line, complete in the 2014 season. So that's an up mark for him.
Seems like he has a little bit of minor difficulty. Something happens on the bike because, you know, he is known to be hard on equipment.
He is too. On equipment too. Gloop Mahey, one of the RacerTV crew, he is dust colored right now. His clothes are colored in dust. The only thing that is not dust colored is his eyeballs as he walked by a moment ago. They've been eating dust as cameramen out. Got to give props up to the RacerTV crew. They are doing a fabulous job out there, no doubt about it. When you go home, folks, don't forget to log on to keep up to date with what's going on here in the GNCC Racing Nation. All of the shows have been archived. This one will be from a video standpoint of what took place while you were standing at mile marker number 3. What happened at 2, at 5, at 9? You go home and watch this GNCC live broadcast on RacerTV.com. See some bike guys, that's brother and son of Big Stu Baylor, walking the track, and he's trying to get out of the way right now. You know, he's becoming quite a bit of an ATV racer.
And they're pointing him to the line to the right, which is the quicker way.
Yes, for sure. That looked like a red number back, red paint back. That could have been possibly, looking back a little further, somebody like Cole Richardson or guys are out there having a good time walking the trail and becoming race fans all around. And that's one thing that I think, guys, the number of them that have become fans of ATV racing. And, you know, a lot of it, you know, comes from the fact and they're out walking the track, and then all of a sudden they see these intense battles coming past them, and you can't help but wonder about it all, that's for sure.
You know, any kind of racer like that, when you see other guys racing and wheel-to-wheel action like that, it gets you involved. And, you know, I think I have a lot of respect for these guys because, yeah, they only go for 2 hours, but they got 4 wheels, and those guys get beat up quick. There is no going around. They are getting beat up the whole time.
Have you ever raced an ATV?
Yes, sir, once. Let me repeat, once. Bumping me around, beating me up, and I thought, man, if I was on my bike, I could go right through these 2 trees. It's nice and smooth, and no, never again.
These guys, huh?
Oh, yes, sir. I mean, like I used to say, you know, oh, they only go for 2, we go for 3, but after that, I know why they only go for 2.
Team prediction finishes. We're going to be calling for that coming up here in just a couple moments. For 4 minutes, 20 seconds out from a checker. We'll give you 30 more seconds, and then they're going to go ahead and they're going to do the computer pick, and we'll find for the $250 in AMSOIL product. I think that's a pretty neat thing. And my question is, I want people predicting Fowler, McGill, and Neal. Were they throwing Borch and Bithell in there and kicking a couple of guys off the podium? Of GNCC Live with the hashtag there, and just see what folks' picks were, to be honest with you. Watching and waiting 2 hours, 3 minutes into this battle right now, and again, it just continues. And we've got a quick look at, well, we'll do that whenever they're doing the podium stuff. We'll take a look at our Can-Am race recap. But quickly, the base front and grab the whole shot, grab the $250. And Walker Fowler eventually was right there in the number 2. Also, Brian Wolf was actually running a 4th place position. Chris Borch was running back in the number 4 spot. Been a rotor, and up until about a lap or so ago, we've seen him finally start to make up some gains and some ground out there. He's back up now to a top 5. He was like obviously has faded due to physical, just tired. It looks like he's just plumb wore out. And I'm sure Borch was able to move back into another the number 5 position, and that right there. Very detrimental, very important. Talked about the scenario if Chris was to finish 2nd behind Walker the rest of the season, he would be able to still maintain the chance. Well, would most likely switch that up a little bit. It would be that he'd have a bad race, and today, not the best. Has that same opportunity with those 2 rounds of racing left to go also.
Yeah, Rodney, you know, this just even makes it more exciting. You know, going into the last 2 rounds, you know, Walker's going to be really having the snowball effect. He's really going to, his momentum is really going to be growing. He's going to be, and it's going to be interesting. You know, Chris being a true champion that he is, he's going to sit back and say, okay, you know, I've had some bad luck. Time to, it's even going to be even more intense.
Walker Fowler less than a minute away from the finish line, or expected and anticipated a minute away from the finish line itself aboard that number 2. Adam McGill in 2nd. Bryson Neal, last check, was still holding on to the number 3 in the number 4 and 5 spots. And are we seeing and are the winds of change blowing here on the Mountain Farm? Of course, the winds are blowing. Are they the winds of change as far as championships are concerned? Is this the turn to the mishaps that he suffered there at Snowshoe GNCC when it was only a mere 7 points away? Maybe fate is actually giving him that opportunity to be back in that position and give him one last shot and one last opportunity in these final 2 rounds of the racing in Ironman GNCC. I have to say that this, my friends, has been and is becoming one of the GNCC seasons we've seen in quite some time. As Walker Fowler works his way around, we see some lap traffic just ahead of him. You see those guys are looking back to see where Walker is or where the leaders are. They know he's coming in, they just don't know out there. Walker is, look at that, he's pumped up. He is excited. I can only imagine what's going on behind his goggles right now and under that helmet as Walker Fowler does it, my friends. He takes the win here at this mountain and all the variables for a great championship and to put him back in the hunt for his first ever ATVs took place right here, my friends, and it is all a matter of what happens these final 2 rounds coming up in GNCC racing. What is going to take place? That is the big question. That is going to make for an exciting end to this season. And as we wait here at the finish line, second place should be coming through anytime. That is the number 521 grabbing that whole shot award earlier today. And now the second place position had risen for him in Unadilla. He might be in a little better position too, but the second place position going to the number 5, Adam McGill, my friends. And with that, another 2 minutes or so is what we're going to have to wait here. Can Bryson Neal get his first ever podium? In 2011 here, just a couple of years ago, he was racing the schoolboy 13 to 15 AB class in the 10 o'clock race starts. He went 3 years later vying for a podium position finish while Walker Fowler continues to celebrate down here at the
Fowler right now, he'd be looking to see where Chris Borch should be coming to see how many points he gained. And right now, he's so excited that he won. He's not even.
I hear what you're saying.
I'm sure he said something good because he's never short on words.
No, he's not. A good guy. There's Marcus Pops back there. And I tell you, to see this right here, the transformation of was one of the riders that had all the factory opportunities that a rider could have. And as GNCC Live on our Twitter contest for the AMSOIL products, we've got at B123 Parks. Podium prediction, she says, and she picked herself up $250 in AMSOIL product. B Parks, also a GNCC racer. Way to go for you there. Yeah, amazing. He hasn't even looked at that. I think, it might be something in the way that the understanding that I got from Wicker Flag Flies at Ironman. It's going to be tough to do, especially now. Oh, did he do it? He did it. He did it. Well, bullet. Bryson Neal just got his first ever GNCC overall podium from Walker Fowler and Chris Bithell, and Chris Borch is still yet to check in there now. Will he be able to maintain that number 5 position, or will Walker Fowler get those ever important extra championship points? We'll call them bonus points at this time for Walker Fowler, but I'm sure that Borch is not going to let that happen. Look at that smile on the face.
Yep, there's one happy crew right there.
He
rode the wheels off that thing today, I tell you.
He most certainly did. Congratulations, Bryson. They called him the Bidwell Bullet, and I think we're about to see why here as an XC1 Pro Class rookie making his way through the final turns. That should be good enough for the number 5 position as he looks over his shoulder. What I say about this as Chris Borch takes 5th, a very commendable job, a very commendable ride.
Front end's all bent up there,
wow.
Rodney.
He could this day could have completely fallen apart for him today, but Chris Borch, looking at that bike, Fred, I think he may have dug deeper than we even realized.
Mm-hmm. And he just did the best he could as he comes riding by us right now. His
wow,
front push bar is all bent up, and he gave it a caliper as you went by because the rotor's bent so bad the caliper's just rocking back and forth. So he definitely was without brakes a lot there, and it's it's hard to race as fast as these guys are going with no brakes, knowing yes it's there and no it's not.
Well, the winds have changed, blowing here at the Mountain Ridge GNCC. Walker Fowler takes the win. Adam McGill takes 2nd. Bryson Neal in 3rd. Chris Bithell in 4th. And your 5-time and defending GNCC champion mirrors his finish from 3 years ago, place position finish. We'll be back with more RacerTV.com here on GNCC Live right after this.
Any engine, any season, at home, track,
or on the trail. AMSOIL for any engine.
I'm a sore loser.
I'm a sore loser. Losing is not an option for me.
Be the best.
The best? The best.
You have to have the best equipment under the hood.
That's why
I only use
My engines.
Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket, a superior quality gasket
For those of us who demand the highest level of performance.
Find your flow with Maxxis tires.
They're the best your way every day on RacerTV.com. Check out all the action from the AMSOIL Grand National Cross Country National Championship. With live race coverage every week. And weekend has everything you need to know about the fastest riders in the woods. It's all on RacerTV. All race.
Do you love racing? All kinds of racing? How about pro motocross? Flat track, ATV, Gncc, Aerocross. Well, we've got what you're looking for. Welcome to the RacerX Show with Greg White, presented by Chaparral Motorsports. New every Tuesday on RacerTV.com.
And welcome back to the beautiful wind farm, a.k.a. Mountain Ridge Resort. The Trails and Resort Park here, located just outside of Oil City, Pennsylvania, and of course you can see right now the windmills are standing still across the mountaintops here as they are making their adjustments and their switches to the wind direction now. As we can see down here at the podium, it's not because the wind's not blowing, it's because it's switched directions, and the windmills are working. And I tell you, when we first started coming here, Fred, those windmills were only the first year we were here weren't even thought of. The second year we came here, they were thought of, and then the third year we came here, it was a full-on wind farm and ATV Trails Park. And what an amazing transformation we've seen here on Mountain Ridge itself. And I tell you, it's only added to the excitement and the great things that are taking place as our top 3 overall riders are actually making their way by, awaiting the arrival of our winners. Of course, Walker Fowler now getting set to make his way himself quite nicely as far as the championship is concerned. And as we head up onto the podium, going up to the podium, third place rider. It's his first time ever up on the podium, believe it or not. They call him the Bidwell Bullet. What an amazing day today, gentlemen. Taking third place here in this XC1 Pro class today. And to the center of the podium, closer and closer to his, and up to the podium next as he takes second place in our whole shot award today. He took second again. That's the 520. Kurt McGill there as we hear the cheers.
McGill Mafia.
The McGill Mafia. We hear the cheers from that to send things down to Jen Kenyon, who's standing by down on the podium with some rather unique and interesting looks at these guys right here, showing that stuff off to the trophy off to the riders out. Look at Walker. At this podium right here, Fred. I just want to take a look at this. Look at the youth in this now. Actually, one of those riders, he didn't get a chance to ride in the youth ranks, but he did work his way up through and turn into a pro rider. But you got Walker Fowler, who led the way through the youth ATV groups whenever it came through, and he threw the guys coming up on his heels, guys like the number 9 of Bryson Neal back there. He took the third place position finish here today. And, I talked about the winds of change up here on Mountain Ridge, and, man, this right here might be a pretty good indicator. We've got that youth on the podium that we have on such a tough and technical racetrack. Jen Kenyon standing by down on the podium. She'll begin talking with our top. Tell you what, an exciting day here today as far as this podium and the championship is concerned.
That's right, to the Mountain Ridge ATV Riding Park. All right, let's hear it for our top 3 overall finishers. Bryson Neal. All right, join me over here, Bryson. We'll get front and center. Let's your first XC1 podium, Bryson. This has got to be exciting for you.
Words can't explain right now. I mean, it's I put in a lot of time, and there's no words for it. I'm so happy right now. Nothing could be better.
You know, I was looking through old C2 championship, and now you're right here back on the podium where you were a lot last year. It's taken a while. It's round 11, but you're.
This dust today, it helped me out so much. We got third on the start, and we just rode my own Chris Bithell caught me in that last lap, and I just dug as deep as I could, everything I had, and I was lucky to come away with.
Out front, do you think that was a huge thing for you today, was getting out front and, you know, getting a little bit of a gap on those guys? Because when it seemed like when you guys, everybody was spread out, did something happen there that made you guys so spread out at the beginning?
The dust. The dust was the biggest opponent today. Lap riders, I mean, you could see them, I mean, like half a mile away it seemed like, and it was just a really good day. It worked out.
So what'd you do to make it so good for yourself?
I had fun today all year, and today I told myself that I was just going to go out there and just have fun. I was not going to stress about it. There.
You know, you might ask this guy here in the center of the podium, sometimes it takes you a few races to get acclimated with the big dogs over here, but once you,
Yeah, I'm going to have to take a little bit of notes from him.
All right, well, it sounds like you're well on your way. Congratulations, Bryson. I know there's a lot of people, so many new Bryson Neal fans just here today for putting on such an awesome performance.
I sure hope so. I'd really like to thank all the fans, my dad, my mom, my sister, my girlfriend, Ryan Lane, Shelly Lane. They've been a huge help. Sheer Tech, Spider Graphics, Dirtworks, RGR, Fox Racing, DP Brakes, Maxis Racing, Gland Innovation, Fly Racing, and everyone. Thank you very much.
All right, once again, let's hear it for the rookie third place overall here today. Extra piece of hardware for our second place finisher, Adam McGill. Adam, before we get started, we want to $50. But we can't give all the credit to Adam McGill. Mark Baldwin, one of his main sponsors, is here today. Sounds like he might want to take a little bit of credit for that, Adam.
You know, I always think of it as a good receiver will make a bad quarterback look good.
Congratulations to all parts of the team. I know there was just more than it looks like it paid off for you because you spent a good amount of time out front. Do you think that helped you out a little bit?
Oh, huge. I mean, this bike, he's got this thing starting good. And Dirtworks with their 24-volt system. I mean, just down to the Wiseco piston and components inside this thing. Classic guy. So, I mean, the bike worked really well. And we come in, Dad told me, he said, pit this lap. And I was like, all right, so I piss. I guess I got to eat some dust. So I ate some dust for a while. And we come around the next lap, and I knew he was pissing, and he was gone. I'm like, damn it. You know, I'm trying really hard. I've really tried here to get another win. But, you know, like you said, Baldwin's here. He's definitely want to make sure the program's 100% top-notch. You know, my mechanic, my dad, is just, he's got this thing dialed. I mean, still kicking like it always has.
Yeah, you know, talk about that. You had some issues last round, but before, you know, heading into round 10, you were are still going after those wins, those podium finishes.
Yeah, I think, I mean, not to correct you, but I think we might still be in the championship hunt. It's never too far unless it's over. So, I mean, we're definitely trying. You know, Mark is, you know, been doing everything he can. My two sisters, my fiance Haley, who can't be here, you know, it's just a whole family team effort. And, you know, I got all these great sponsors behind me. WVU, PA fans, you know, I can't thank you guys enough. And if it wasn't for you guys, I definitely wouldn't be doing this. So I love it.
All over the place.
Oh, man, it was awesome. I mean, the Mafia was definitely out there 100%, you know, down there in that mud and, you know, out here in some of the, and, you know, we caught Walker there towards the end and tried to put on a charge and put a few moves on him, but we lost each other in the fields. I mean, it was over. And so I tried everything I could, you know, thinking maybe he'll make a mistake, maybe he'll catch a lap as much as I could. But, you know, when you got clean air, you can always run just a little bit faster than the guy sucking your dirt.
That's exactly right. Well, as solid second place, who would you like to thank for getting you up here?
You know, like I said, I definitely want to thank my dad for helping me get this thing built. I mean, he let me touch it. He tells me to touch the handlebars and foot peg, and that's about all I'm responsible for. So, you know, I had a house call or a race call, Novak, and man, this guy's got me 100% up here. I've been having trouble with my hands, so he come up here, it showed today. I mean, we run up front most of the day. You know, RacingPowersports.com, great company. We all this thing took off and got one hell of a grip, was out of here. PirateMX.com, helps me with all my Honda parts to help me get everything. Star components, DC Pro components, guys. There's 2 DC Pro bikes up here, and they're really on top of their game. Custom Axis shocks, so Volvo motors. We have WCD, Fast Company, DP, Mayer, Streamline, Blinkstar, UPP, Quad Tech. We have Hyper FMF. Like I said, the Dirtworks 24-volt system is key. CalGuard, we have Cypress, Sundial Performance, Get It Performance, making my skid plates, ODI, IMS, Outerwears, Twin Air, Wiseco, new company I'm working with, no problems all day. Vanilla Gorillas have my belly protected all evening, and RJR components, so, appreciate it, and you guys kick ass out there. Thanks for being here.
All right, that's Adam McGill, second place. He has the record for the most sponsors of any racer out here. But right now, it's all about this guy here in the center of the podium, Fowler. Hold it high and proud, Walker. You are inching your way towards that championship fight. If I'm correct with my math, which isn't always right, we're 5 points. We are, points down from this championship.
I think so. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure on the official results at the end there and exact point values. We're just coming out here to get wins. We know that's what we had to do, and I think it was I just needed someone to step up and get second, and I had 3 guys help me out today immensely. So we're right there. It's like I can't even fathom the feeling right now, how close we really are, and just it's possible. We can do this.
Man, so, okay, 4 of the last 5 had one mechanical issue to hold you there. But before we get into all the good stuff, let's talk about how scared everybody was on that lap. When you passed by your pits, what was your thought process? Were you wanting to get out front there just really bad? Because we saw your pit crew, they were ready, and you kept going, and they're like, oh, no, we don't know if he's going to make it. But did you know in your head, I've got this?
I figured I didn't have a whole halfway through the first lap, the machine had sucked so much dust trying to stay. In the dust, you have to either be on the rider's seconds behind, and I was in a really bad buffer zone, about 15, 20 seconds, and you're just eating so much dust. And like I said, the hot light came on, and it started just losing power. I was like, oh, man. So it was either I just couldn't tell myself to fall back, so I just kept pushing. And honestly, thank the Dave. There was a couple times where it was that when I got around him when it fueled, like I said, I just my head a little bit, but couldn't see anything. And guys like Brian Wolf and Phil are just masters at that, and I am not. So I just put my head down and hope for the best, and popped up. What would that be? Third lap? Midway? I don't know. Whenever Kurt fueled, and I was like, well, in my head, it's either when I have gas and I break down because the motor blows up, or I pass him now and run out of gas, and at least I didn't blow the bike up. So I figured I'd rather just run her out of gas and give myself a chance time on him that we were able to get a full pit stop, try to get the bike cooled down, and we got the win.
So that's the hero, or maybe the zero if you didn't get it in there. But you pulled it through, you made that. But that's in all honesty, you were like, I'm not going to go down without a fight, and that's what you did. You brought it back, and you made the championship chase close. And that's a lot from you this year that I don't know that we've seen from you in the past before.
Typically, when I did it in the past, I was at least this year. This is the second time this year that a pit strategy has got us the win. Hats off, riding so well, and it's just same thing. Like I could barely reel them in the rocks when you could actually see because there just isn't dirt. And I did everything I could to stay on them and just could not. And then vice versa. I would think I was riding really well, and I would look back and I have a Honda RGR bumper up my exhaust, and I'm like, dang it, I'm riding as hard as I can. I look back and he looks like he's just cruising. So, this is up here, and fellow Ohioan at that, and there's so many friends and family here. It's awesome to get the job done in front of a hometown crowd, so to speak.
That's right, and sometimes it's all about, it's not only about the racing else involved, and you proved that today. But Walker, who else would you like to thank for getting this big win here?
I definitely want to thank the good Lord Jesus Christ for watching over us today. Chuck LeMaster for coming and praying with us before every race. NFAB and Pro Can't do enough, or I can't do anything without those guys. They do so much for me. It's unbelievable. My mechanic, Mark Nautman, like I said, I was really convinced that this thing was going to grenade, and it kept shutting off and coming back to old Rocky Balboa here. She just kept on going. So thanks, Mark. We're going to get this thing done. Definitely want to thank the guys at Lone Star. Like Adam said, we got 2 DC Pro bikes up here. The components are just second to none. Maxxis tires today, I don't even think I have a flat tire, which I was pretty convinced that I did, but awesome to get off the trail and know it was just all in my head. Want to thank Hill International Trucks, Fly Racing, Fox Suspension, DP Brakes, Tire Balls, Hyper Wheels, Vortex Ignitions, outerwears, Precision. I had my stabilizer absolutely cranked, and definitely want to thank George for believing in us and for giving us a chance to run his product, because there was the same thing. When you're running blind and you just hit something 4th gear wide open across the field and don't crash, that's all the stabilizer there. Anti-gravity batteries getting us off to a great start. Still didn't get the whole shot though. Moto Seat, Yamalube, Cycra, Liat, Wiseco, Fuel Customs, Waynesburg Yamaha, IMS, CV4, G4 Graphics, Works Connection, GYTR, DID, Dragon Racing Fuels, D4 Power Sports, Pro Taper. Steve and his sons, thanks for being down at that mud hole. You guys are the best. Appreciate it. Made my life so much easier. The whole Notman family's here. My beautiful girlfriend for putting up with me during the week, because I know, at least lately, I've been pretty irate, I think, at home. Just, it's a lot of pressure to be on this. I don't know. I feel like we're awesome. Appreciate it. Like I said, all the guys from home, they're broke college, so you guys are the best. Appreciate it. And again, the fans, you guys are awesome. Thank you.
All right, that's Walker Fowler. Everybody, why don't you 3 get a nice photo opportunity, and then we'll get on with our champagne celebrations. Up high and proud, guys. Adam McGill, you need your trophy. You're going to have to replace that helmet with your trophy.
Celebrations continuing here on GNCC Live and at the Mountain Ridge ATV Resort as the winds have changed, the new faces, the young guns, if you will, on the podium as you put your hands together one more time for our top 3 overall. 3rd place, Bryson Neal. 2nd place, Adam McGill. And Walker Fowler, your Mountain Ridge GNC. Now, one step closer to the national championship, something that he has dreamed about for many. The photo ops wind down here. These guys are going to grab their bottles of champagne here in just a second. And what Jen says, it's the celebration, the end of it all as far as this race day is concerned. And Racing Nation, to the victor goes the spoils. And you know, the spoils here in GNCC, sweet spray of champagne. There you have it, my friends. Your podium here at the Mountain Ridge GNCC. And I want to remind you, coming up in 2 weeks, we'll see this championship battle continue with Walker Fowler, the boys out there, as we'll be heading to Ohio's Powerline Park in St. Clairsville, Ohio. You'll be able to catch all the action at, on October 4th at Powerline Park ATV race at 1 o'clock. And then you see live from Powerline Park again on Sunday will be the bikes. GNCC Powerline Park UTV racing will be taking place. So we'll catch that at 5 o'clock, and then the bikes from right here at GNCC Live. What an amazing end of this day. Coming into this one, a lot of unknown variables, a lot of questions, a lot of speculations, and a lot of it's even more. What kind of stories will be maybe told, and how will it all play out when these final 2 rounds all come to an end? It's getting that much more bit of what I would call drama that a GNCC battle and championship has seen in ATV racing in quite some time. And of course, with that, that's going to bring us to a close on our broadcast here. I want to say thanks to everybody for tuning in with us. We'll be back again tomorrow for our 2-wheel side of things. And like we said, in 2 weeks, back for Saturday, we'll be doing 1 o'clock ATVs. 5 o'clock will be the UTVs, the side-by-sides, if you will. And with that, just want to say hats off to the entire RacerTV staff and crew doing a great job. The Racer Productions crew putting together another great track and trail, and great opportunity for racers, spectators, and race fans from all around the world. And with thanks to everybody from behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, and to you, those watching at home. Have a great day, everybody.